Sure, I will. Andy, how are you?
Good, thanks.
8 changes, I think, to the match day 23. That's a lot of disruption, isn't it?
Not for us, no. We're excited about it. We've obviously lost a few experienced players there during the week, but one man's loss is another man's opportunity, and the squad's united in the excitement of the challenge ahead for the weekend.
It's a big test of your playing resources, isn't it? I know you've operated a squad system for a period of time, but it certainly is a big test.
Well, it's why you do these things, isn't it? You know, I suppose you try and you have your fingers crossed along the way that things don't quite go this way from time to time. But that's why you pick a squad like you do in the autumn, etc., and give people a chance to see what it's like at international rugby. So I suppose our squad depth is coming into play at this moment in time.
Andy, can you give us the timeline of when you found out about Johnny Sexton, Conor Murray and James Ryan? What is it going to be like going into this game without them?
So Johnny yesterday didn't come through the HIA protocols. James earlier in the week, and we've just found out about Conor. I found out 15 minutes ago actually. He went for a scan on a slight hamstring trouble that he picked up yesterday in training.
We all saw as well how emotional Billy Burns was in Cardiff last Sunday. How has he been since?
He's been great. He's strong, Billy. You know, he's a proper footballer, and you know he realises it is what it is. You know, everyone makes mistakes, and international rugby, he understands the extent of that. But he's a true professional. His team are right behind him, etc., and he's trained outstanding this week.
Andy, if I could jump in there, do you feel in the last season and this year you've got any of your selections wrong? Have you and the management had to kind of look at yourselves in that regard?
I think you always look at yourselves first and foremost regarding performance and selection. So I'm sure that along the way there's always things that you look back on and you know, with the what ifs, etc. But you move forward, don't you? On every occasion, you move forward. And it's the same this week. You know, when you come to a few bumps in the road, all you do is look forward. There's no point in looking to the past.
And can you talk to us a bit about Reece Ruddock? It's quite remarkable that he's at 30. He's getting his first Six Nations start. Can you talk to us a bit about how he's forced his way back into the reckoning?
Well, he's been resilient, hasn't he? Reece, he's had a few ups and downs within his career regarding injuries and long injuries at that, and you know, you say about him being his first Six Nations start. I suppose you know, there's a reason for that because of the injuries that he's had along the way. But the resilience is in the guy, and he personifies that regarding obviously not getting selected over the last year or two, and then playing really well for his province and earning the right to start this big game at the weekend.
Thanks. And Ian Henderson captains the side. What can he bring to that role?
He brings authority. He also brings a calmness. I think that was one of the really pleasing aspects of the game the weekend against Wales. Regarding obviously going down to 14 men, there was a calmness throughout the leadership group, throughout the team, and Ian was right at front and centre of all that. So he'll do exactly the same. He'll see it as a challenge. He'll get excited about it, and I'm sure he'll lead the boys very well.
Andy, could I ask you how are Johnny and James doing health-wise? Just kind of rugby to the side, like how are they doing?
They're fine. Yeah, they're in good spirits. They're in and around the group, and they've been very helpful this week. So health-wise, they're absolutely fine.
Just asking about Craig Casey, obviously a huge opportunity. What's he been like in camp over the last 2 weeks, and what do you like about him? He's been top class. His energy and his application to want to get better
he's second to none, and that says a lot for a young kid coming into an international group with so much experience along the way. And I suppose the best thing that you can say, or compliment that you can give Craig, is that the senior players have been blown away by his attitude and his will to get better every day. So he deserves everything he gets.
Cheers.
Andy, just wondering how tough a week has it been? There's been quite a lot on your plate. I mean, obviously the fallout from the defeat in Cardiff, Peter O'Mahony's suspension, Johnny Sexton and James Ryan, now Conor Murray added to it today. And that with the pressure of, obviously, you can't afford to lose 2 games on the trot, or your championship ambitions are obviously over. So there's been a lot on your plate this week.
Yeah, and it's been challenging, but every test week is always presents its own challenges. There's been a lot going on this week, but we're a squad, and we've been a squad since we met up. And yeah, everyone's been swapping in and out. You always at the back of your mind have the what ifs scenarios, and here we are. We've got a side that's going to go out and full of confidence actually to be excited about meeting a really exciting French team. We'll give our best shot at the weekend. There's no doubt about that.
Andy, I might just ask about when you're talking about Ian Henderson having a cool head. Was there work to be done in terms of the hour before kick-off about how to get guys to the right pitch? Just maybe seeing what happened to Peter last week. Is it you that leads that, or is it the players that are leading that? Just in the hour before kick-off, is there work to be done?
The last time I would speak to the players is just as we get to the ground, so that's probably an hour and a half before kick-off, and then the players, that's a very, very short chat. But the build-up throughout the week, and there's always a blend of getting the right emotion right, and I think we've been pretty good at that. The blend isn't to be old-fashioned and beating the chest coming out for an international rugby game. The blend is being calm enough and primed enough to be accurate first and foremost, and I suppose that's how it should be, and that's how it will continue for us.
And I know you'd say maybe Peter knows he made a mistake, but is it something you have to specifically mention at some stage in the build-up to say, everyone can put their hand up afterward and say, I made a mistake, but to make sure it's not acceptable to go into a ruck, that you have a duty of care on the guy who's prone in the ruck? Has that been mentioned specifically?
We talk about discipline the whole time. If you look at our discipline record, it is second to none. And from week to week, of course, that changes. And, there was some silly penalties that were given away from our point of view last week. But these lads, like I said last week, they don't do it on purpose. No, it's not something that we constantly beat down on the players with. They know that themselves.
Best of luck.
Andy,
thanks.
Andy, you said after the game last week that you hadn't had a chance to talk to Billy Burns. I just wonder what your message has been to him this week. What sort of conversations have you had with him?
Plenty of conversations, like I do with the rest of the team. You always try and help them find the reasons why and the process that they've been through, etc., and see how they're able to cope and park and move on. And come Tuesday, Billy's been absolutely fine. He's been leading as far as every fly half should do within training, etc., and he's trained really well this week.
Thank you.
Andy, can I just ask one final question? With the late changes in personnel to the team, do you have to kind of refine the approach in any way now?
No, we've, as I said, guys keep rotating, keep swapping in. They all know the plan, etc. So no, we don't need to curb it at all. I suppose you curb a plan regarding what happens with the weather, etc. But when we've got a squad that's been together, and that's why we pick a 36-man squad for these occasions, and the same plan will go and apply to this team.
We'll take the last one in this section, folks.
Andy, could I just jump in there and ask, what was your take on two neurologists popping up in the French media this week talking about your captain?
Honestly, I thought it stinked. I thought it stunk. On so many grounds. I suppose I'll leave it at that.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, folks, we'll switch into the embargo written section now.